So, I've been thinking, there have been 12 astronauts, not not 12 missions, not 12 people who were part of the Apollo crew. There have been 12 astronauts total, right? The original two plus 10 who have walked on the moon. Does anybody know the names of the other 10? Like, where are their movies? Like, does anybody remember anyone else being sent on the moon? Because I don't remember any movies about being sent on the moon other than, the first moon landing. What did they actually do other than excavate some rocks, actually? Like, realistically, what are people going to realistically do on the surface of another planet when we get to Mars? My idea of living in space is living in a habitat on a space station, controlling stuff on the ground. Basically, just controlling mining using robots. And you need the low latency to, make sure the mines don't collapse or something like that. Oversight on location, but you don't actually need to land on the planet, not unless there's a requirement of minimal gravity or something like that. Yeah, other than Venus, there are no planets in our solar system that are appropriate for human habitation, and that's Venus when we bioform the atmosphere, so we figure out how to bioform the atmosphere so we don't have to live on cloud cities or whatever. Or if we do live on cloud cities, we'd probably gradually make bubbles on the continent so that we can mine stuff and manufacture things on the continent, right? But the atmosphere is too unbearable. So, the gravity is the main issue with going out into space. Without some sort of programmable energy field like a sci-fi energy field that simulates gravity, or like a drug that fixes our low gravity environment issues, there is absolutely no reason why we would live in space. Like, realistically, the main hub of space travel would probably be Mercury, because Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, so connecting to it as a hub before going to Earth is like the easiest thing to do. Like, if you're moving cargo, you move the cargo to Mercury, you let it there, you leave it there, then you refuel somehow, and then you go to Earth again. Right? And even that's if you have a stellar economy, and if you need to personally, physically deliver things as like the crew in charge of your main ship. Otherwise, you just use like a drone ship to do that, and then just take a direct route to Earth. There's not really any incentive for most people to actually go to space, other than, oh, I'm super omega rich, so I'm spending money to get shot up into low Earth orbit. And now, as soon as I do that, people are going to complain at me for wasting CO2 and for being a dick. Even if I'm just trying to enjoy myself and nerd out about going into low Earth orbit. Like, a lot of people were pissed that Katy Perry got up there, because she seems like she's not as smart as people want her to be. She's not an activist or whatever. But most people didn't really have a problem with Captain Kirk. Or some people probably had a problem with Captain Kirk, but it didn't really blow up, because why do we care that someone has a political issue with Captain Kirk going up there? Captain Kirk just has a vibe to him where he says what he thinks, and because he's an old white guy and he's not like regurgitating whatever the left says, then therefore he's conservative and blah 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 blah. Like, you can just feel it. Like, you can just feel it when people sometimes talk about him. Like, they wanna call him a Nazi. They wanna call him a white supremacist. They wanna call him conservative, but it's Captain Kirk, so what can you do? As a, politically obsessed weirdo somewhere online. Yeah. The more I think about it, other than mining rare resources, like maybe in a few hundred years after we set up space mining and set up space mining that can self-replicate itself, only in like the 24th century, in my opinion, will we realistically start living in space. Unless if someone in the next 60 or 70 years figures out that, you can just mass produce polymer based elements to make a small orbital ring, and then you have an orbital ring that can go in and out of atmosphere, and then that just makes going into space way cheaper for technology, at least. And once that happens, it's gonna, after maybe half a century, blow up in materials. Like maybe half a century after you make an orbital space ring, will you have the materials to realistically send up a village of people? At least that's my take.